Hey, Biff, I just want to make sure you got my note that Ben Salango is on at 7:15. Okie doke.
Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection. Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection.
At Wheeling Hospital, we're doing amazing things with cardiac care. We're implanting the world's smallest heart pump to help keep it beating as we open clogged arteries, and replacing aortic valves without open heart surgery. We're also greatly reducing the chance of stroke by implanting a small device in the heart for certain patients with atrial fib, again without open heart surgery. Amazing cardiac care, amazing cardiac specialists, only at Wheeling Hospital.
The Highlands Event Center is the area's premier destination for conferences, workshops, employment fairs, weddings, and more. With 4,000 square feet of space, the Highland Event Center can accommodate events large and small. Situated in the heart of the Highlands, guests can enjoy the many restaurants, retail stores, entertainment, and lodging options. To check out everything the Highlands Event Center has to offer, head to thehighlandseventcenter.com or call 833-639-7070.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster. With a look at your local weather forecast for your Wednesday, partly sunny skies, scattered shower around late afternoon, daytime high near 87, mostly cloudy overnight, temperatures near 72 for the low, clouds, limited sunshine for your Thursday with a scattered shower in the forecast, temperatures in the low 80s. Just have a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
Good morning, old friends.
Hey, what are you doing here? About to go on the air.
Uh-oh, guess what day it is?
Wake up, fairy princesses, wake up!
Guess what day it is?
Get up before I get you up!
Guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Hump day.
Woo-hoo!
This is Wednesday. She calls it over the hump day.
Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Hump day Wednesday.
We ain't one at a time in here.
They broadcast me out on the radio. We're mass communicating.
Let Wednesday begin!
Hit it!
News, information, conversation, controversy, and fun. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
Indeed it is, and indeed we are. We've got all that stuff for you today. Here's what's coming up on the Watchdog Morning Show. Ohio County has decided to mail everybody, not everybody, but all registered voters, an absentee ballot application just like we did in the primary, despite what the state is doing at that level. West Virginia gubernatorial candidate Ben Salango kicks off a statewide barnstorming tour today. He's with us to talk about that and to react to yesterday's conversation we had with West Virginia Can't Wait founder Stephen Smith. As schools gear up for return to classes, Wednesday appears to be a sanitizing day in most school districts. Laughlin Chapel going to be starting a program to provide opportunities for kids on those days when there's cleansing in the schools being done. Director Martha Wright is going to join us a bit later on. After pressure from parents, Governor Justice reverses course and allows marching bands to perform at fall football games. Now, I actually think that's probably the right decision, but it does prompt me to pull out the soapbox to offer up a rant on the nature of leadership, and is just simply responding to phone calls real leadership? It was a Trump family affair at the Republican convention last night. We'll visit that a tad. And, of course, it is a Wednesday. Hump day also means the legislative watchdogs are coming in today at noon. Kind of a verstunk-looking morning this morning. It's foggy and overcast here at the home studios. Once the fog burns off, going to be partly cloudy. Some clouds will stick with us and maybe even thicken up into the afternoon. Some brief periods of rain this afternoon. Daytime high going to be around 87. Currently, 62 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. 58 degrees and foggy and overcast here at my home studios in the Elm Grove section of Wheeling. And about 60 at the Robinson Auto Group Studios downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. Good morning, Brother Biff. How are you this morning?
Good morning, Howard. Not too bad.
All set and ready to roll? What's in the glass today?
Coffee right now.
I've got a little bit of coffee here. My wife just handed it to me, as a matter of fact. Which means I probably should just go ahead and sip. You heard me, Biff. Maybe some of the Facebook and YouTube viewers heard me too, trying to clear that frog out of my throat again. That frog has been living in my throat the last couple of nights. I don't quite know why, but just got some coffee, so let me. Oh, yeah, that's hot. It's whoa. Oh, baby. Well, it's fresh coffee, I guess. Man, it's hot. That'll cut through the crowd pretty quickly. Also, just in case I need extra, I have my official morning Diet Dr. Pepper can here with us this morning. A couple of quick stories I want to get to up front. I'm going to rant a bit about Governor Justice in a minute as well, sometime in this hour probably, so stick around for that. But a couple of quick stories I want to get here up front from the morning intel today. Not surprisingly, the former traveling secretary for Bishop Michael Bransfield, who claims that Bransfield had sexually abused him while he was the bishop, calls Bransfield's recent apology inadequate and unsatisfactory, in quote and end quote. And that pretty much what everybody's been saying, Biff, right? Inadequate and unsatisfactory.
Yeah, that sums it up.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's not even an apology. Well, gee, sorry you felt I did something wrong. I didn't, but I'm sorry you felt that I did, and they're making me pay this money back, but I didn't really do anything wrong, but I guess I'll pay it back, and now I've said my apology. Baloney on that. Anyways, the man who identified himself, you remember when we covered this story, as VGD in a 4-page letter sent to the Intelligencer this week, took exception to Bransfield's brief apology, saying, unfortunately, the former bishop's letter does not meet the basic conditions, and this is something we've talked about a lot with John McCabe and I in our newspaper editor, John McCabe and I in the At Issue program here and on TV. Bishop Bransfield's letter does not meet the basic conditions of Catholic contrition or apology, specifically in the context of reconciliation. So yet another person coming out, someone directly involved, and saying it's just no good. That explanation, that policy, and so on, no good. One more story I want to get out before I get to Mensalango. And a round of applause to Ohio County. Back in the spring primary, everybody in the state everybody was a registered voter, I should qualify that, received an absentee ballot application. So if you wanted to vote by mail, the application would automatically be sent to you. It was sitting there on your living room end table or your kitchen table, and you could fill it out, send it back. They would send you your mail-in ballot, and then you could vote by mail. And everybody got that because of COVID. And then the Secretary of State's office and the governor's office decided to not do it that way this time around, but rather to insist that we must proactively ask for an absentee ballot application. We must proactively ask for an absentee ballot application not coming to us. We must go out and seek one out. Now, in fairness to Mac Warner, he put together that online portal that makes it easier to do that. But still, you or I have to actually go and say, I want to vote by mail, as opposed to getting this in the mail like we did in the primary. There's been a big debate and discussion about that. And I want to commend Ohio County. Ohio County has, according to the Morning Intel today at least, has decided to go ahead and send the application to everybody who is a registered voter. It's going to cost about $15,000. The county has to bear that cost. It will not be a state. The state will not bear the cost, but the county says they're going to bear the cost. So everybody in Ohio County will get an absentee ballot application. Now, you still have to fill that application back, send it back, and then you'll get your actual mail-in ballot in the mail later. And you can still use, I would assume, the portal. I used that online portal the first day or two, so I'm anticipating getting my ballot here in the fairly near, well, not fairly near future. Starts, September 17th, 5th, something like that?
Yeah, 18th, I think.
September 18th is when the ballots will go out. But anyways, again, a round of applause to Ohio County for doing it right, Ohio County says, no, this is not the time to be insisting people go to the polls when COVID is still running around. We're going to make it as easy as we can for people to do mail-in balloting. So that's a pretty good deal. Greg Stewart says that this is a blessing for all parties involved. But he also said, let's see, where is this quote? Commissioner Don Nickerson says, we have a dark cloud hanging over us these days, and I think we need to make it easier to vote. So, again, a real round of applause, for me at least, to Ohio County Commissioners and to Greg Stewart and to the county clerk for deciding this is the way they're going to do it. If you are in Ohio County, and I would love to see other counties pick up on it. Yes, the county has to pay for it. You have to have enough money to be able to pay for it. But I think that's a really good deal. 7:18, Watchdog Morning Show here on our Wednesday edition. Let me welcome to the show gubernatorial candidate for governor. Well, of course, he's a gubernatorial candidate for governor. He wouldn't be a gubernatorial candidate for dog catcher or anything. He's a gubernatorial candidate. He's candidate for governor in West Virginia, Ben Salango. Ben, good morning, sir. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
It's good to have you here. It sounds like you're in your car, so you're probably getting ready to start your barnstorming tour. Is that right?
That's exactly right. I'm heading to Beckley right now, and we're going to start the tour at 9 a.m. So I'm on my way there.
So
now,
what's the idea?
We'll be all over the place.
Yeah, what's the idea? Just basically going to try and travel around the state and meet people and hear what they have to say and let them get to know you? Is that the whole concept here?
Yeah. So the goal is just to get out, and we're going to have, do it in a safe manner, try to meet as many people as possible. We're going to do 4 or 5 stops per day, and looking forward to it. You can't campaign very well because of COVID. So getting out on a bus tour is a safe way to do it. It's a safe way to get out and meet people, and I'm excited about it.
You couldn't do much meeting of the people at all during the primary, and not much even now because COVID is still out there and still around, and people are still not happy about going to big events and so on. So you get a chance this way to at least meet people, hear what they have to say. They can hear what you have to say. So I think, and you know what? It kind of sounds like politics as usual. I mean, in a good way, not a bad way. This has been such a weird year, typical campaigning, typical types of politicking have kind of gone by the window. A good old-fashioned barnstorming tour around the state sounds good to me.
Hey, you know what? I'm excited, and I tell people it was the longest primary with the shortest campaign season in West Virginia history. We delayed the primary into June, but you really couldn't get out much, so it was different. But we adapted, and this is one of the things that we're doing We can do it in small crowds, try to hit a lot of the areas of the state. This is just our first tour. Hopefully we're going to do more of them before Election Day.
You're going to be up here in Wheeling, your Ohio County stop. I think it's today, right? This afternoon?
It is. I will be there at 6 p.m. West Virginia's first capital. 15th.
First state capital there on 15th Street. Yep.
That's right. I'll be there 6 p.m. So we're going to, people come out and they'll wear their masks. We can socially distance and make it a safe event. But, yeah, really looking forward to it. Looking forward to be back in Wheeling. A lot of people don't know that I worked there for a couple of years. When my wife was in law school, I was already a lawyer. I was working on Market Street. Worked there for a couple of years at Flaherty Sensible. Ate my fair share of DeCarlo's pizza.
Yeah, you were right up the street in DeCarlo's then. Easy walk for lunch for that. Absolutely right. Ben, what are you, to the extent that you're hearing anything, what are you hearing about this election as you listen in whatever way you're able to listen during COVID? What are you hearing people saying and thinking about this race between you and Governor Justice?
People want new leadership. I mean, no matter where I go, all over the state of West Virginia, they want new leadership. You go into the panhandles, eastern panhandle, northern panhandle, they've been ignored. For 3.5 years, they've been ignored. We had a governor literally who did not show up for work for 3 years, and now it's election time, and he showed up and he's giving away money all over the state. People see through that. They want new leadership. They want somebody that's focused on their business rather than, the governor's own business. They want somebody who's about public service, not about self-service. That's what I'm hearing, and we're expecting to have a great turnout on Election Day. Lots of people casting their absentee ballots, and we're going to beat it.
I'm going to do a little commentary a bit later on this morning here on the show, what I call Santa Jim. Every politician, I don't care what party you are, every politician uses the power of the office a little bit to hand out goodies during a campaign season. I mean, that's just part of the power of the incumbency. But it seems to me that Justice has taken this in recent, weeks, maybe months, to a new level. Every day there's another new grant announcement, another new Santa sack full of goodies for everybody that he's been handing out. I mean, he really has become like Santa Jim. Here, you get a grant, and you get a grant, and you get a grant. I think yesterday, and they're good grants, by the way. I think yesterday there were sexual assault grants and so on. Good stuff, but it just strikes me as awfully political.
Oh, well, and, you can't even hide it. I mean, he said he was going to do road projects in all 55 counties, and it had to be done by Election Day. I mean, how obvious is that? I mean, you wait, 3+ years, our roads are falling apart, our bridges are falling apart, and then he wants to sprinkle money all over the state and hope that people forget that he's been an absentee governor, that he's been a part-time governor. If you had an employee that didn't show up for work for 3 years, would you hire him again? Because that's what Jim Justice is asking the people to do. He wants them to forget that he didn't show up to work for 3 years, and now he comes around, he throws some money at it, and hope that the people will forget. And I don't think they will. They're not, they do not appreciate how he's ignored the roads. They don't appreciate that he's done nothing with broadband, that his COVID plan, quite frankly, he was late to the game. And a lot of people don't like his return to work or return to school plan. So, there are a lot of issues with Jim Justice that just throwing money around the state simply won't fix.
And Ben, I concur with those things. And I was very vocal about his lack of attendance, well, literally a lack of attendance, period, but lack of attendance to his job prior to COVID. But to the general public, at least right now, I mean, you've got an uphill battle because to the general public right now, why, there he is every day, well, every other day, but almost every day on TV, on the internet, his big press conferences. I mean, he now looks like a man who's hard at work and has been looking like that since since the primary, before the primary. So the battle to get people to remember what his first 3 years were like is going to be a tough one for you, I think.
Well, and even, showing up 3 days a week for an hour and a half for a press conference is not really hard work. I mean, I would, that's not too difficult. So, yeah, I mean, we're going to remind people that's what advertising is for. That's what part of this bus tour is going to be about. And I think the West Virginia voters are intelligent, and they're going to see through what's going on now. But I'm looking forward to it. We're getting out, meeting as many folks as we can, and spreading our message. We have a solid platform that resonated in the primary. It's resonating in the general. People are very receptive to my ideas, and they're looking for change. They don't want to keep running the same old playbook we've been running since the 1950s. We've got to change. If we're going to move forward, we need new leadership.
Leadership is a word that I'm going to talk about again later on this morning here on the show. Governor Justice yesterday, it's not a gigantic issue, but yesterday Governor Justice reversed the decision on marching bands at football games. Now, I actually probably think that that's the right decision, that if you're going to play football, if you're going to have cheerleaders, why not the band? So I don't necessarily disagree with the decision, but I got thinking about the concept of leadership. And it seems to me the governor reversed his previous decision. Well, it's Bernie Dolan's decision under the governor's urging. It seems to me he reversed his previous decision because he got pressure from parents and phone calls and social media. And it strikes me that leadership is not answering the phone and counting up the calls, but it's developing a policy you think is right to begin with.
There's going to be pressure no matter what decision you make. I actually think that permitting the bands to play in March is appropriate. If we're going to have, sports, then we should definitely permit the kids in the bands to be out there too. But, there's a lot of tough calls that have to be made. And if you're going to flip-flop every time somebody makes a negative social media post, that's not real leadership. That's not decisive leadership. You shouldn't have to run around doing a political poll before you make decisions, which is what he does with a lot of his major decisions. They poll it first, see what's popular, and they go with that rather than doing what's safe and what's appropriate. So, my style is a little bit different. I think you have to make the hard decisions. That's why people vote you in office. You make the difficult decisions, and not everyone's going to like it. I mean, no matter what decision you make, you're going to have naysayers. But I think you do what's safe, you do what's right, and you move forward.
The governor has been very prone during this whole COVID thing to making decisions and then changing them. If nothing shows that more, it's this whole color coding system, which he first announced without any metrics, and then he put up some metrics, and then he changed the metrics. And I think we've seen, I've lost track of it, 3 or 4 different changes to the system since he first announced it, which I guess can show, I mean, let's be honest, I guess that can show a willingness to listen to new information and new ideas, or it perhaps can show just not an understanding of what you're doing to begin with.
Well, I think that's what we're dealing with. I mean, when he came out with his plan and he said, we're going to count our correctional officers and our nursing home workers as half people, when it comes to the return to school plan, as if those people don't go home and aren't out in the community, it really it was without any support, without any base, any scientific reasoning. No other model was doing that. But he did it to make sure that the numbers were kept low. So if you have 100 people in a nursing home, 100 residents test positive, the governor counts that as one. If you have inmates test positive, 100 inmates test positive, the governor counts that as one. Those inmates, actually, they're not always in the facility. Many of them are, they go out, they come back, they're transported, they go to the courthouse, they come back. It's not a very well thought out plan, and counting the workers as halves. Now, when we called him out on it, he changed it. He flip-flopped. But that's what he's done since the beginning. I mean, he's flip-flopped parties, he's flip-flopped decisions, he's flip-flops on everything, depending on what he thinks is popular at the time.
Ben, before I let you go, I wanted to touch on one other thing. We had Stephen Smith on with us yesterday. You ran against Stephen in the primary. It was a very good primary race for both of you guys, I think. A lot of issues out there, a lot of discussion in the general public. You are now the nominee. He has this group, West Virginia Can't Wait, that he sort of was the founder of, that was behind his run for office. Have you talked with him? Speaking as a Democrat, I get concerned that we have, it looks like, two factions here that aren't yet coming together. Have you talked to Stephen Smith, and do you anticipate getting the support of West Virginia Can't Wait?
Well, you know what? I reached out to Stephen right after the primary, just like I did the others that were in the primary. Senator Stallings. Senator Stallings was such a gentleman, so humble. He endorsed me right away. Through his support behind me, he's actually helping me a lot. Same thing for Jody Murphy. You know, Jody won several counties. Reached out to him. He immediately endorsed and is helping me. In fact, I did a Zoom call with him the other day. I had a meeting with Stephen about a week after the primary, and we chatted about, you know, what my ideas are going forward. And he, leading, you know, to the primary, he had indicated several times publicly he would endorse the winner. I won. And, you know, I've asked him to review my platform. It was a platform that resonated with the people in the primary. You know, it's the West Virginia First platform. We developed it, you know, talking to folks all over the state of West Virginia, talking with experts. We have plans on opioid recovery, the economy, infrastructure, broadband, so many other things that it is a really good platform, and it's resonating in the general. People love it, from small business owners to the Working Families Party who endorsed me, to over 30 labor unions that have endorsed me. And so I've asked Stephen to check out my plans, and if they are, you know, I've welcomed his input. But, you know, hopefully we can all come together and move forward and with a common goal, and that is to make sure that Jim Justice isn't in the office for 4 more years.
After the interview, when I posted a podcast of it yesterday on our page, I had written as a lead into it that I thought Stephen Smith was reticent about endorsing you. He contacted me right away and said, no, I never used the word reticent. I am hopeful that we can come to some agreement and we'll be able to endorse him, but I'm not reticent. I just have to be honest, in talking with him, and actually listening to what you're saying now here too, I get a sense that somewhere there's some disconnect, that something isn't quite connecting, whether it's on a personal level, I don't know, or whether it's policies or what have you. But at least it doesn't seem to me that we're getting connection here between you and that group.
Well, you know what happened? We won the primary. Stephen did a great job. He worked extremely hard. And afterwards, I think he was expecting me to adopt his platform. And quite frankly, it was a platform that did not win in the primary. It was a platform that did not resonate with the majority of the primary voters. I don't think it would resonate in the general, although there are a lot of really good ideas in the platform. I'm not going to adopt a platform that I don't agree with. The other thing that I won't do is, after spending many months developing my own platform, I'm not going to abandon it. I think that, you know, West Virginia voters are tired of politicians who win an election and then either flip parties or get rid of their flip platforms. I'm not going to do that. So, you know, I've reached out to Stephen, and I'm hoping that he will check out our platform. He can make any suggestions that he likes, and you know, we'll go from there. But I'd love to have his support. I've reached out to every West Virginia Can't Wait candidate and let them know that I'm here for them, that I will support them moving forward, and give them, you know, whatever network they need to be successful. And I think that many were appreciative of it, and we've got a lot of those candidates that are working with us. So we're proud of that.
All right, Ben, I'll let you get on your way to Beckley. Beckley, that's where you're going first, right?
Starting in Beckley, then we're heading to Braxton County, then Charleston, then Wheeling. All
right, well, let you get off on your barnstorming tour. Stop and have breakfast someplace, and whatever you have something extra for me, will you please? Because
I sure will. I'll send you a picture of it.
There you go. Thank you. Ben, have yourself a good day. I appreciate your time this morning, and travel safely as you head around the state today.
Thanks so much.
All right, talk to you soon. Ben Salango, the Democratic gubernatorial candidate in West Virginia, running against Jim Justice. Biffy, I don't know. I don't see a lot of. I'm not getting the warm and fuzzies. Are you getting the warm and fuzzies between Stephen Smith and Ben Salango?
No, I'm not.
No. And I thought at the very end there, Ben was pretty clear. When Stephen was with us yesterday, he said, well, we've made a proposal. We want someone who will buy into our, meaning what can't wait, who will buy into our policies and platforms, and we're waiting to hear back from him. I think you may have just heard back from him. I'm not sure. But he says, I'm not going to adopt a platform that I can't agree with. And I thought it was a little bit damning. He says, the platform, the West Virginia Can't Wait platform, did not win. So, based on yesterday, and I'm not trying to cause trouble. I'm really not. I had somebody say, all you're trying to do is cause trouble in the party. I'm really not. I'm just trying to get a handle of what's going on here. And I said, Stephen actually reached out to me after I posted the podcast yesterday and said, you said in your introduction to the podcast page that it was, I was reticent. And he said, I wasn't reticent. I wasn't reticent to endorse. I am hopeful that we can endorse Ben Salango if he can see his way to agree to our policies. And I did revise the way I put that on Facebook. I changed it a little bit. But I told Stephen, I said, part of what I have to do as a talk show host and a political analyst is to take what you say and kind of go behind the scenes and between the lines. And I'm sensing that there's not, if reticence isn't the word, I don't know what the word is, but I think from our conversation yesterday, Stephen's not ready to jump on board with the Ben Salango. And from this conversation we just had with Ben Salango is not ready to jump on board wholeheartedly to the West Virginia Can't Wait platform. So I don't know where either side goes from here, but not getting the warm and fuzzies. That's all. I'm just not getting the warm and fuzzies between the two men, and that's a shame because they both are good people. I think Stephen had a lot of good ideas. I like the progressive approach that his West Virginia Can't Wait group has. And I had this conversation here in my own household last night with a number of people, including my daughter-in-law who was herself running for office. I said, you got to remember at some point, the goal is to win. The goal is to win. And like it or not, we have a system where the first thing you have to do to win a general election is win a primary, and then you got to run with what you got. So anyway, thanks to Ben Salango for a quick response to me yesterday, coming on today to join us. And again, he's beginning his barnstorming tour through West Virginia today, where he'll be in Ohio County tonight at the First State Capitol building there, 15th and Oak Streets, at 6 p.m. tonight. Now, that's the end of the day. I'm guessing 6 p.m. will end up being 6:30 or 7 because by the time he makes all those stops, probably things will move along. All right, speaking of moving along, I better do that. Let's get some headlines in here. Billy D's got sports in a minute or two, and Zach's coming by with weather. I've got some thoughts on the governor I want to get into, and we'll talk to my old friend Martha Wright, the lovely and talented Martha, coming up in the next hour of the show from Laughlin Chapel. It's all straight ahead on the Watchdog Morning Show for a Wednesday.
The WTRF Channel 7 News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Now it's time for your local news headline.
Yeah, you could tell from both of them, definitely. Martha is going to come in, so don't be surprised if she shows up. She thinks it sounds better if we're in the studio, so she'll be in there. I'll be here. She'll be there, just so you know. Correct. And that's all I got. I got a lot of stuff to get to if I have time for it. But we'll get to Zach coming up next. And I will check the stream. I checked the stream and I checked the transmitter like at 5 minutes till 7 and everything was working. So I don't know why. If it's not on now, something went down. Okay, the stream is up. Let me take a look at. Let's look at the transmitter. At least I can do this now. Open it. Yeah, it's frozen down in Moundsville again. I can fix it quickly again. At least the good news is I can fix it again. But why? Why is it freezing? And it was perfect. It was doing fine. Okay, that should put us back on the air. It was fine before 7 o'clock. I checked it this morning. Mm-hmm. That's a good point. That's a good point. All right, well, at least it's back up right now. I'll worry about the rest of it later. That's not a bad guess. I told Kayleen yesterday, I know what's happening, I just don't know why it's happening. So I'll keep working on it today. All right, but that should put us back up. So we should be back on the air at least. Okay. Yep. All right. All right. Tell him, would you tell him that I'm running a little behind time and I have some other stuff I want to do, so I'm going to try and keep it relatively quick today. Yeah, we have been. I still want to think I'm trying to give him a short shrift. I want to get in and out because I want to get a couple other things in. It's a short show and the stuff I want to get in before we're done. So. Yep. Well, that having a third hour is just really different. I mean, 2 hours almost never seems like enough. One or two things in there, and it takes up the time. When we only have 2 hours. I wasn't listening, so did we do Bill, or do I have to do him afterwards? That's fine. I just need to know. That's fine. I'll do him afterwards. Yep. All right.
Mall. Situated in the heart of the Highlands, guests can enjoy the many restaurants, retail stores, entertainment, and lodging options. To check out everything the Highlands Event Center has to offer, head to thehighlandseventcenter.com or call 833-639-7070.
Hi, this is Shauna Johnson from Metro News. Join us weekdays on the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe for the latest regional news from West Virginia and beyond, along with news and weather from WTRF-TV and Bill DeFabio Sports. We give you the Ohio Valley's most comprehensive morning news right here on the Watchdog.
He rambles, he rants, and sometimes he sings. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
Coming up today at 10 on Statewide Talk Line is Hoppy Kercheval and Brad McElhenney will be by to talk about a couple of things that I'm going to talk about here in just a minute. Also, Renata Poor of Charleston will be on to talk about the celebration of the women's right to vote movement that's underway in the Mountain State. And Biffy, it's time for the bromance again.
Oh, Chris Steyerwalt back.
Chris Steyerwalt is in from Fox News, the political editor. I'm telling you, sometimes I think those two should just go get a room. But that's. Did you hear me on Hoppy's show yesterday?
No, I didn't.
He challenged me to a fight.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll have to go back and listen then.
He said I was the only guy in the state of West Virginia he thinks he could take.
You know what he based that on? His quickness.
What's that?
His quickness. He thinks he's quicker than you. That's what it is.
He's sinewy, you know. I told him, I said, Hoppy, we're both old guys. Neither one of us are. We'll wrestle around on the ground and somebody will go, okay, that's enough. No, he did. He said, you're the one guy in the state of Washington I think I can take. Oh my God. So Hoppy Kirchwell today from 10 until noon. Then it's a Wednesday, which means we have all kinds of other stuff for you today. Bill DeFabio's variety show is off on Wednesdays, but Wheeling Mayor Glenn Elliott and Vice Mayor Chad Thalman in at noon with the Your Wheeling, No Two Ways About It program over on AM 1370. Butch Maxwell's Complete Waste of Time will be on 1370. Then the ladies are in, Olivia and Sonia, at 1 o'clock with their program. So we got a lot of stuff going on there. And then this afternoon on the afternoon drive, Kenny Seibert is back. Kenny Seibert back today on the afternoon drive. And Zach is here right now from the Big 7. Good morning, Zach.
Good morning, Howard. How are you this fine Wednesday?
It's kind of a crappy looking morning outside.
Yeah, it's a little foggy outside, but hopefully once that fog burns off, it shows the sunlight and some partly cloudy skies expected to kick off your Wednesday. But conditions are expected to get a little cloudy later on into the afternoon, but I don't expect anything in terms of rain or heavy rain like we saw yesterday. Just a few isolated showers, maybe a stray thunderstorm today, but I expect most of the Ohio Valley to remain dry today.
Okay, well, at least that's good. The rains that we've been having lately, and you've predicted them properly, have been really heavy, but not too long-lived. They've been pretty intense, but not too long-lived.
Yeah, a little bit of a kind of a gully washer, I guess, if you want to say it yesterday, but not too long-lived, like you were saying. Just quick hitters, but they definitely packed a punch. Some heavy winds yesterday. We weren't able to, not too much in terms of storm reports from the National Weather Service. That I actually came in yesterday to relieve Doc on our severe weather coverage from 3 to 5 yesterday. So I was on our Facebook Live just talking about the weather, keeping everyone informed in terms of what's going on with the weather outside. But whenever I came in, it was pouring. It felt like the heavens opened up and just unleashed some heavy rain here on the studio. But at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport, they only received 1/100th of an inch of rain. So looks like areas into the northern portions of Ohio County and into Brooke and Hancock, they hardly received any rain, whereas portions of Wetzel County saw an inch. So very crazy.
And it, happens that way a lot. One part of the area gets a lot. I think I mentioned the other day, for example, we were on the deck and it was raining. And Teddy says to me, he says, Granddaddy, it's raining. And then he looked, he said, but Granddad, the sky is blue. I mean, right above, you looked out over the horizon, the sky was blue, but it was raining right above us. It's that kind of time of year, I guess, where we get, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and in different places we get different things, I guess.
Yep.
Tomorrow, kind of the same thing, I guess, right?
Yeah, similar to what we saw yesterday. We will be in a slight risk category for severe weather. So the bubbling up right around that 2 to 6 window. But again, we'll start partly cloudy skies on your Thursday. We'll stick with the stickiness and mugginess and the high heat into Friday, where it looks like we're going to notice some rain showers both in the morning and afternoon on Friday and Saturday. But we will certainly cool off as we head into the weekend. It just might be a rain-plagued first half, but the second half is looking beautiful. Highs expected to be into the upper 70s, low mugginess, and just getting back into seasonable conditions for the latter half of the weekend.
Just looking at your graphic only right now, it looks like Sunday may be our best day. It looks like sunshine without too much chance of rain and relatively nice temperatures, 77 or so for the high.
Yep, looks beautiful to me, looking at the graphic as well.
All right. Hey, Zach, do you ever look at the Old Farmer's Almanac?
Yeah.
I know weather people don't like that, but I'm just curious if you ever do.
Yeah, so I enjoy it. It's kind of like one of the only books I actually read at 23 years old. Maybe even like a few magazines, but I read up on it every once in a while just to be like, oh, what does the Farmer's Almanac say? And of course, it just gives you a broad scale approach of areas in terms of what they expect weather-wise, but it's based off of the climatological averages and So yes, it's accurate to an extent, but at other times you have to add your personal touch on it. But I do keep an eye on it, yes.
I have a story in front of me. I'm not getting into it today. Maybe we can talk about it tomorrow. A little preview of what the old farmer is saying about the winter weather for this upcoming season. I thought maybe tomorrow we could talk about the old farmer a little bit and see how what you are seeing maybe, or the weather center folks are saying, match up with what the old farmer is saying. So maybe we can do that tomorrow here on the show.
Sounds good to me. I look forward to that.
All right. Thanks, Zach. I appreciate it. Have yourself a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you. We'll see you. Bye-bye.
All right. Zach Penny from the Big 7, WTRF TV here on the Watchdog Morning Show. It is foggy. It looks to me overcast outside, but maybe it's just thick fog when it's over and done with. Hopefully we'll see some sunshine, but right now it's just foggy at my home studios. 62 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport, 58 cool degrees here at the home studio in Elm Grove, and 60 degrees at the Robinson Auto Group Studios, downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. Now, I mentioned Mr. DeFabio is not on the Bill DeFabio Variety Show today because Wednesday is his day off, but he does rise and shine early on Wednesdays just to help us out here on the Watchdog Morning Show with your morning sports update.
In Chicago, pitcher Lucas Giolito of the White Sox no-hit the Pirates in a 4-0 win. He struck out 13 Pirates. The Pirates only had one base runner. It was the first no-hitter in the majors this season. And you could say goodbye to the Pirates' 3-game winning streak. The two teams will meet this afternoon in Game 2 of a 2-game series. Trevor Williams will get the start for the 7 and 18 Pirates. The Pittsburgh Penguins and Toronto Maple Leafs played Let's Make a Deal Tuesday. 6 players and a number 1 draft pick were involved. The Penguins received Kasperi Kapanen, who played for the Pittsburgh Penguins before traded in 2015 for Phil Kessel. The Penguins also received defenseman Jesper Lindgren, left winger Pontus Aberg. The Maple Leafs get 2020 number 1 draft pick. That's 15th overall. Not a bad deal for Toronto. They'll receive from Pittsburgh left winger Evan Rodriguez, centerman Philippe Hallander, and defenseman David Warsofsky. Speaking of hockey, Stanley Cup playoffs continued Tuesday. 2 games played. Tampa Bay over Boston, 4-3 in overtime. That series tied at 1 game apiece. Vancouver all over the Vegas Knights, 5-2. That series tied at 1 game apiece. A Steeler note: with the threat of rain and lightning Tuesday, forced the Pittsburgh Steelers to leave Heinz Field and return to their practice indoors facilities on the south side. I'm Bill DeFabio. Please be safe, thoughtful, and considerate of others. Check on the elderly. And I am a member of the Watchdog team.
So, Biffy, how many takes did that take him? I give him credit, man. He walked his way through some of those names very carefully. He was, you could hear him, making sure he was getting those names right. Did he get them all done in one take when he did that report?
Oh, well, Bill told me, he said, I've been practicing the names, and he first the funny part is he got all the names right. It was at the beginning of the Penguins story that he messed up. The guy that they signed, they got him in 2015, and I think Bill was going to say 1995. So he said 19, and immediately he knew, and he said, "No, I gotta do that one over." So he started it a second time, got the year right, and then went into the names and got the names. But he told me he had been practicing all morning, so
you could tell. And by the way, this is not a criticism of Bill. When you have something with a whole bunch of what you just do, you're not totally familiar with the names. You read them very slowly and carefully to make sure you get them right. I've been there. I understand it, but just made me chuckle listening to go through all of those different names. And I could just tell he was,
well,
I won't say struggling, but he was working hard to get them right. Bless his little heart.
He told me this morning, he said, you might have to do a lot of editing here on these names. And of course, it would be something easy that he would mess up and not the names. But, yeah, he's and I don't know how many times he had to do that this morning. I don't know how many other places that he calls. I want to say maybe like close to 10 that he calls and does that. So could you imagine? Yeah, he probably already had some practice in, but Yeah, I couldn't imagine having to say those names over and over again.
And so another good night for the Buccos, huh?
Yeah, no hitter and 13 strikeouts last night for the old Buccos.
No, when we say a no hitter, we don't mean we pitched a no hitter.
No, they got no hit.
we got no hits. Bless their heart, bless their little hearts too.
I mean,
the little engine that tries.
So much for that 3-game winning streak. It was gone, and by golly, if you're going to end it, just have it end without getting a hit. Why not?
You know, I've said this before, and I do get a chuckle. And there's one guy, and he's an actual friend of mine, plus a Facebook friend of mine, and he's a huge Pirate fan. And every time the Pirates do something good, especially if they win a game, and they don't do that very often. What's their record right now?
7-18.
Only 7 times all season. But every day, my buddy gets on Facebook, now the streak begins. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't, Jim. Bless your heart. I give him a huge amount of credit for his enthusiasm, but it just ain't going to happen. For example, and we know it's not going to happen, and we're not the only ones to say that, Biff. The odds makers say it's not going to happen, right?
Yeah, they say last time we checked, they were 30,000 to 1 for the World Series.
Again, if you're the kind of guy who likes to play a long shot, yep, there's a long shot for you, 30,000 to 1 to win the World Series. Of course, if you do like to play, if you like to game a little bit, you can always do that with our friends at FanDuel. Right now, they're really pushing the NBA playoffs that are underway, and they've got that's what I call the slam dunk offer you don't want to miss. You get really great odds for picking any team to make the NBA Finals. You can pick any team. You can pick the favorites. That's the easy thing to do. Or you can get that spidey sense telling you somebody else is going to get in there, and you can pick that as well. You put down $10, and you have a chance to win $200 if the team you pick makes it. So pick and choose as you choose. The ball is in your court, as they say. But it's a good way to have some fun, maybe make a little money, but more importantly, just to have a little bit of fun and kind of create some extra interest yourself in the NBA. And, of course, the good thing is if you pick correctly, you will win money, and FanDuel will get it into your account in as little as 24 hours. That's one of the hallmarks of FanDuel as a sportsbook app. The other thing that really makes them special is how easy it is to use, how intuitive the app is. You can just hit some drop-down menus and work your way through some things. Very, very simple, very, very easy to use. And, of course, they have all different kinds of bets. Every day we talk about certain things that are available to new users like this one as a result of their sponsorship of our show. But they've got all different kinds of bets. I mean, you can just bet the odds, but you can bet all different kinds of special events, prop bets, and so on. Check it all out at fanduel.sportsbook.com. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Use my name, Monroe, in the promo code box, MONROE, and that will get you the advantage of this NBA deal that we're talking about. All right, so FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code Monroe. Now, I must remind you, you have to be 21 or older. You must be present in West Virginia. This deal is for new users only. You must wager on designated boost markets. The maximum bonus is $200 for the For full terms and details, check out sportsbook.fanduel.com. And remember, while it can be fun for some folks, for others it's not. If you have a gambling problem, www.1800gambler.net. FanDuel Sportsbook, more ways to win.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
I'm Sherry Preston.